Good evening, everyone. I am Kim Trathen, business and marketing coach, and I'm coming live for the next segment of the Girls Talk Business series. So I'm excited to have Carina Groombridge join me tonight. She is a mindset and success coach. So I'm just going to wait for her to come on. Oh, Carina, I already see that you're on. I'm going to go ahead and add you now. You should get a notification that you have to accept to come on and join me live. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. First, I need to say thank you for being so flexible, and thank you to your husband for the last minute time change. I greatly appreciate it. If anybody catches us live, or if you had to catch the replay because we changed the time, I apologize for that. I injured my back 3 weeks ago, and we leave for vacation tomorrow, which entails about a 12-hour car ride. I needed something for my back, or I was not going to survive vacation. And they called me last minute and said they called me at 4 o'clock and said they could get me in at 4:30. So I'm
impressed you could make it.
I am too, but it was urgent. I needed to. So
nice.
I'm so excited, and thank you. And please tell your husband thank you from me. I know it's not easy.
I will definitely do that because I can hear screaming children.
You know, that is one of the reasons why I do the dual earbuds. My kids are actually not home right now, but I have been on live so many times. This is a mom tip for any entrepreneurs out there going live. I wear my earbuds even when I'm inside because I've had my children bust in the room. And if I can hear you better and you can't hear them as well, then I feel like it offers a little buffer. So there's my mompreneur tip.
That is a good one. I like that.
Yeah. So, and you're in a tank top. It must be nice and warm there.
Yes, it is very warm. And this is a little better than sitting in my basement, so I'll take it.
Definitely. We're having a little bit of a cooler streak here, so we're not quite as warm right now. But anyhow, I'm so excited for you to come on tonight. And anybody who's watching this, please drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. If you watch live or you're catching the replay, we love to see how far the Girls Talk Business series go. And Carina, do you want to start out by talking a little bit about your past? You, as was in some of the graphics, you have a degree in engineering and you've been working in that field. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like for you? I think there's a lot of women out there that when we went to college, and I would put myself in the same boat, when we went to college, we may have chosen degrees or fields that seemed like the right choice to make at the time, seemed like we'd be employable, maybe even more of a male-dominated industry. Can you talk a little bit about why you chose engineering and kind of what your thought pattern was when you got your degree, and then what happened once you actually began working in that field?
Such good questions. Well, for me, when it came time to actually decide what degree I wanted, I didn't know what I wanted. And I, was trying to figure out a little bit more about this and a little bit more about that, but none of them really kind of sparked my interest as like something that I'm like, hell yes, I want to do this. So I was good at math, I was good at science. So my mom's advice, which I can't fault her, it's good advice, go with the highest level of education you can, right? Like it'll open the most doors and this and that, which is a true statement. I can't argue with it, but it didn't end up leading me to a career that I loved. Now, maybe it just happens to be the job that I ended up in, and that maybe if I had found something different, I would have kind of flourished in a different realm within engineering. But with where I've ended up, it's not something that I'm super passionate about. So once I got into the field, I was kind of like, I don't love it. It's security, it's stable, it's good benefits. It's like being in a limbo. It's not really good, but it's not really bad. So you just kind of stay and you're comfortable.
And I think that comfortable aspect, especially if you do have good pay and you do have good benefits, it's not like those are lighting a fire under you to pursue something different. And it's a lot of work to pursue something different. And it is a lot of work to start your own business. So it's hard when you feel, and sometimes I think when people are well paid in their positions, it's almost like this extra trap that keeps them there, because you get used to a certain level of pay. And then it's like, well, how are we going to feed our children and clothe our children and afford the house that we're in and the cars that we drive? And a lot of those decisions have been made based on the job that you currently have. So then it becomes harder to think of switching jobs or going out on your own and, you know, going down that entrepreneurial road. It can be that much harder when you have good, stable, I use that term loosely, but stable pay with your job. So how long did you work in engineering before you knew it wasn't going to fulfill you?
Oh, I don't know when exactly I came to that point, but it might have even been before I started work, like while I was still in my degree. And I've got to say, I absolutely loved doing my engineering degree. I met some amazing people. I had fantastic experiences. Like I would never give up that time in my life, that experience. But I think about year maybe 3, I was, you know, sitting down studying for an exam going, do I really want this? Like, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Now, granted, you know, the school bubble is not representative of what work actually looks like, but it's still, you know, somewhat reflective of what real life is going to be. And I kind of had that thought, and then my logical side of my brain kicked in and said, well, you've come this far, like, don't stop now. You've invested all of this time, like, finish the degree and then decide. And so I guess that was kind of like the stepping stones of, okay, well, it makes sense. I should finish my degree, and then, you know, if I want to change, do something else after, at least I have an engineering degree. Like that'll get me places, even if it's not necessarily in engineering. Now, so then once I got into the workforce, it was, okay, now I have a stable job. Great. Like, just kind of like, I don't know if I'd say coast, but just enjoy the fact that I didn't have to work all the time on evenings and weekends and all of that. So I was like, this is nice. And then, exactly. And then, you know, the snowball effect comes, and it's like, okay, baby time and house time and like all of those stereotypical steps that people take. And once I had my first kid, I was like, okay, I really don't want to be here. And by here, I mean like the 9 to 5, like my company is flexible. I really can't complain. But the people I work with are great. My boss is amazing, but it's just, I can't just not come in. Like I can maybe leave a little early, and they're flexible,
but it's different when you're working for somebody else. You need to you need to
show
abide
up
by their rules. Yes, you have to abide by their rules. And I feel like we've talked about this before, where I feel like I had a very similar journey with my degree in statistics. I had my major was stats and my minor was econ, and I had no idea in college what I wanted to do with it. I just thought it would make me employable. And it was that security safety net. I literally never gave any thought to, am I going to be happy down the road doing this?
No, that was not a factor. It's crazy to think that is not a factor in the decision of, you know,
how you're going to spend 40 years of your life. And I don't know about you, and I know your kids are a little bit younger than mine, but because of my experience, that's a conversation that I already have, especially with my 7 and my 11-year-old. Because they're, you know, I think my oldest was in maybe first grade when he came home and said, so I have to go to college after high school? They said I have to. And I was like, well, we're going to talk about that. But, you know, there's still a lot of those and I'm not saying that college is bad, but I just think there can be some different conversations around college. And is that the right track for everybody? So I think there's a lot of different conversations that can happen, but one about what is really going to make you happy. My oldest said to me recently, well, why do you have to sit at a computer all day about my 9 to 5 job? And I said, well, because that's how we pay for our house. And, and I said, and if that's not what you enjoy doing, then make sure you plan ahead and don't get yourself locked into that field. You really, there weren't conversations about nobody had conversations with me about what I was going to be happy doing as I got older. It was just what will make you employable. And that was the focus. Counselors, teachers, parents, and that was just the focus back then.
I know. And it's crazy to think that now, like once you get into the realm of entrepreneurship and, owning your own business, that barrier to entry has shortened so much that anybody can start their own business. Not to say that it's easy, but
right. It still takes work, but especially the day and age of online businesses and how you can literally connect with people around the world. I'm in Michigan in the United States. You're in Canada. And we're having just an easy time seeing each other as if we lived next door. It is a completely different, it's a completely different ballgame now with the internet and technology the way that it is. It's amazing that you can connect with people around the world.
Oh, it's so true. So true.
So you were working, you had your first baby, and you knew you weren't happy, but you stayed through having your second babies, right?
Yes. Well, my logic, of course, the logic, damn the logic. So my logic behind it was, okay, well, I had my first baby and I knew I wanted to have another couple of kids, like close in age. So I was like, okay, well, after the next one, then I'll look for, I'll start looking more for other jobs and what else I can do, what else looks good. And partway through my mat leave, I realized one baby was actually two babies. So that whole thought process started to kick in of, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have another mat leave. I don't know if I'm going to have another opportunity to go off and then look for work and figure out what I want to do with my life.
In Canada, how long do you get off for maternity leave?
It's different across Canada. I'm in Quebec and we're really, really fortunate. I took 1 year. And
wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
I'm so fortunate to be living here, throughout my having baby time, because it's fantastic. And
that is.
I would not have given that up for anything. But obviously, if you're told you only have 3 weeks, you have to make it work or figure out how to survive on one income if you're used to two. But yeah, so all that to say, I had a year to sort out, okay, what do I want to do? And of course, procrastination kicks in. Delay. And I think once I figured out I was having twins, that was like the kick in the ass to go, okay, I need to figure this out. And I was searching and nothing that I could find online, granted, maybe I wasn't that good at job searching in general, but nothing that I could find was something that I actually looked at and went, oh my God, I want to do that. So I guess in looking for that, I came across sleep counseling. And at that time I was well into taking care of babies and sleep patterns and all of that. So I was like, oh, that was kind of how the thought of entrepreneurship started, and me going, I could do this. I was successful in putting my kids to bed and getting them on a routine and that sort of thing, which is 100% necessary if you have twins. Just putting that out there.
Yes.
And so since I had that and kind of had that confidence of this is something I could do, so I looked more into it and kind of decided, okay, I'm going to go in this direction, and this direction being entrepreneur, start my own thing. And it kind of snowballed from there. And I realized after I thought about it more and more that whole mummy sleep realm wasn't really where I wanted to stay, but I really loved the idea of being an entrepreneur and working for myself and making my own hours, doing my own thing. I've always been interested in big picture stuff, which is ironic for engineering because a lot of engineering jobs in mechanical are very, very focused.
Yes, very detailed.
Detail oriented, not really exactly looking at the big picture. So so entrepreneurship was like, ooh, I can learn about sales. I can learn about marketing. I can learn about a million different things. So that just on its own was appealing, and not to mention the fact that I could make my own hours and all of that. So
yeah,
so
all those big perks that people are gunning for. So when you first started thinking entrepreneurial, what are some of I know you said that you had to overcome some of your own mindset issues. What were some of the fears and the worries that you had to work through, going from, you're clearly smart, you're clearly capable, you were able to get your engineering degree and work successfully as an engineer. So what were still some of the hangups that you felt like were holding you back that you had to overcome through this process?
That's such a good question, because I feel like there are so many, so many. But I think what really kind of kicked me over the fence was the fact that, to me, staying in the same position and doing nothing was scarier and more painful than jumping in and going for it.
Yes.
And I think it's at that point, and it's the same for everyone. You have to get, you have to feel that pain. You have to feel that discomfort to get you to move to that next step. And for me, the thought of, missing out on my kids' stuff because I have to work, or I have a deadline, or just going into work for 40 hours a week at something that I don't really love, and then coming on my kids and trying to explain to them that they should do what they love when I'm not doing that myself. So I was like, I have an issue with that.
I think a lot of people do hit that point. They have that aha moment of, what needs to change or what they want to do. And for me, it was a specific moment. And I remember I was laying in bed and I was just filled with regret. I regretted my major in college. I regretted not going away to college. I regretted not thinking things through better when I was younger. I was just filled with regret, and it suddenly hit me one night. And I thought, I am done living in regret. I'm going to feel like this forever if I don't make a change in my life. And it was a very specific moment. And I realized that my fear of regret far outweighed my fear of failure. The last thing I wanted to do was look back in another 10 years and go, oh, I should have done it then. Why didn't I try? I wish I had done such and such. And instead, I thought, even if I fail, even if this goes nowhere, at least I'll know that I tried. And in that moment, it was like everything changed for me in that one night.
Nice.
So how have you found that, because sometimes it can be hard with whether people are married or they have a partner or whatever that situation is, but sometimes that can be hard to get your partner or your spouse on board with this entrepreneurial dream. I had this huge epiphany one night, and then I was like, and now I have to tell my husband. I'm not sure how he's going. I had no idea what he was going to say. Have you had to work through that too? Was that any issue for you guys, or was that pretty easy for you?
It actually wasn't really an issue, which is very interesting, because my husband is more on the conservative side, and he likes his structure and his 9-to-5 job and his stability. So I don't know if he would ever go off and do the whole entrepreneur thing, but for me, he seemed very supportive. And I don't actually remember the first conversation we had about it, but for as long as I've been talking about the whole entrepreneur thing, he's been really, really supportive, really encouraging of all of my crazy ideas, because really just him, sometimes he's like, really?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And sometimes my answer is, no, I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to try this. And I feel like that's part of being an entrepreneur, is just being willing to take those risks and try something. And as long as I know my family isn't going to end up homeless, then I feel like I'm okay with taking the risk and trying something and seeing if it'll work. And I think we all have successes and we all have failures. But the important thing is to try. So that's great that your husband was on board. My husband is much more, I feel like I'm crooked here. I'm trying to fix my phone. Sorry, everyone. My husband is much more the free spirit, and I'm usually play it safe Sam over here. Yes. And so when I told him, he was like, go for it. Do whatever you want. quit your job
Wow.
now. Like he was, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's just take this one step at a time. So he's definitely like the dreamer, and I'm the realist in our relationship.
Yes.
Which is kind of interesting that I'm the one starting the business since he's the big dreamer.
Go figure.
But I know it's funny how things happen. So anybody who's watching, I would love to hear from you too. If you had to overcome some mindset things, if you've started your business, if you haven't, what types of fears are holding you back? Why aren't you going after your dreams, whether that's a business, a new house, a different job? Mm-hmm. I think in all areas of life, we battle these limiting beliefs that hold us back. And I would also love to hear if you have a partner or a spouse, do they support it? I know a lot of couples that have some conflict over it because most of the entrepreneurs that I engage with are women. So oftentimes these women have these big dreams for their jobs and their husbands are kind of like, really? I don't know about that. And they're not really supportive of the money that it might take to invest in yourself and in your business and get things up and running. So I know that that can be a struggle for different couples to have. So if you feel comfortable, anybody watching the live or catching the replay, go ahead and share with us if your spouse or partner is on board, or if that's been a bit more of a process for you guys to work through. So what types of things, was it a long process? Because you're a success and mindset coach now and you're very, very good at it. Is this something that you realized right away was a strength that you had? Was it something that you had to work at more? And then as you worked through it, you realized like, hey, I could actually help other people with this too.
I think now that I've, I guess, settled on that, because as I said, I kind of like bounced around to different types of entrepreneurial, I guess, avenues. And I settled on mindset coaching because it's something that I think I've always known. And I've always had this ingrained mentality of like, if I think I can do it, I can. And I've always attributed it to just me being very, very positive person, which I am. But in talking to other people, I realized the, I guess, difference in how I think of things and how I see things. It is. And I warned my husband that I would not be able to get up and let her in. So I apologize.
That's fine. It just made me laugh.
She likes to whine.
Yeah.
She's part husky, part German Shepherd. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a whine. But yeah. So what was I saying?
So.
Oh yes.
Oh, you good?
So just my my whole thought process and mentality in general, I think makes complete sense to my being a mindset coach. Like I've done a coaching course online, and which was amazing. And I guess mindset has just really fits with me kind of perfectly. And I remember one of my earlier memories when I was like maybe 7 or 8 was I remember someone, I don't remember who it was, but it was a person that, like an important person in my life. And I remember them saying, "You're stupid." And yeah. And as a kid, I was just like kind of taken aback. And I don't know when it was, but it didn't take me long to realize that I wasn't the stupid one, but my actions were maybe in that case stupid. And so even as like a little kid, I recognized that difference, and I kind of like stood my ground and went, no, like that's not true. I'm not stupid. And it was something that I struggled with for a while, thinking that, I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't, all of those things. But over time, it kind of developed into this, no, I can do it. And different things in my life led me to, I guess, justify that. Like for example, my engineering degree, it's not an easy degree to have. And by the end, I was like, if I can do that, I can do just about anything I want.
Yes.
Like if I can figure out how to do it and stick with it and follow through, then I'm good. Like I can accomplish whatever it is I decide in my life. So that's kind of now the mentality that I'm carrying forward into my business. And I actually I was reading a book the other day, and I heard a quote in it, and it was referencing Apollo 13.
Oh, wow.
And I know, completely random. And it said, failure is not an option, right? Because obviously if they fail in that situation, like they're dead. And so it's kind of something that I've adopted for my own mindset and my own business, is that failure is not an option. It's not on the table. I will get to my goals, and I'm not quite there yet. I'm still, starting out in my business, but I will not fail, because I will not stop until I get to my goal. And
Yes.
I'm 100% dead set on this. I will be working from home or wherever I choose. I will be able to, pick up my kids whenever they need, or, just have my work for me, and be able to take care of my clients and give them amazing value and help them succeed, and as well take care of my family at the same time. And that's like, I'm just so motivated to do that. Like I said, failure is not an option. It's not on the table.
And that mindset is so critical, I think, to a business success, because all businesses have successes and slumps or failure. Something doesn't go right. And I think it kind of the easy solution sometimes could be like, well, I'm just going to throw in the towel, and that didn't work, so I'm done. I tried it and it didn't work. But that commitment to, no matter what, I am not going to fail, and I am going to make this work, that mindset makes all the difference. I see we have a comment here, so I want to read this a minute. Oh, Narika. Okay. Yes, Narika's husband is amazing. I think they're doing a little partner duo with their business.
That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Now they're running two businesses. I love it. Yes, Narika said that most of her family has not been supportive. And that's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that, Narika, because it is about more than just who your spouse and partner are, because that can be really difficult too. Even as an adult, if your parents aren't supportive of what you're doing, it can weigh on us, and it can affect us. So yes, I love that. Let's see if today Narika and her husband are running two businesses. I love it.
Cool.
They are rock stars. They are absolutely rock stars. That's awesome. So, and the other thing that I wanted to comment on too, that, as you were saying, Carina, like you started out thinking a different line of business and it ended up morphing. And I think it's really important for people to realize that it's okay too. Like I always think of growing your business kind of like raising a child, and you love it when it's a baby, and you love your child when they get older, but they're not the same. And I think it's very natural for businesses to evolve over time. And that evolution can look very different, or it might just be an extension of what it started as. But it's okay when you're going through the entrepreneurial journey that there might be these shifts in your business. And sometimes that means you take a different direction totally with your business. And I think when people are more open to that, that's when you can really find your groove and what you're truly meant to do, as opposed to staying married to an idea that isn't really meant for you in the long run. I think that's so important. So if we can talk a little bit about what would be some of your top tips for people that have limiting beliefs. And I'm not sure if your tips are specific to entrepreneurs, or if it's of, anything in life, if they're looking for a career change, a new job, whatever it is. I'm not sure if yours are specific to entrepreneurs or not, but what's some of the advice that you can give people that are struggling to, and I'm sure there will be people that watch this too and think it's not a limiting belief. I'm just really not good enough for that, And I think sometimes recognizing what a limiting belief is really an important part of the process too.
So true. Actually, I want to say I kind of hate the term limiting belief, because people throw it out so much. And yes, okay, it is an accurate statement or semi-description. But when you tell somebody, you have to get past your limiting beliefs, that means absolutely zero. When you're sitting there going, okay, moving on. Like,
yes,
when I first started to hear about limiting beliefs and that sort of talk and language, I went, okay, that's nice, but it doesn't mean anything. And so I would say that you have to figure out what those are for you. And with everybody, it looks different. And maybe you always tell yourself, well, it's really hard to start a business. Businesses fail so often. You name it. I apologize. My daughter's here. Hi, Mackenzie. You wanna come say hi? Hey, look, mommy's on TV.
Hi.
Say hello. Okay, can you run inside? Can you run inside, sweetheart?
No.
Please? Can you go see Daddy?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aw,
Okay.
she can join us. It's Girls Talk Business. She's a girl.
This is true.
This is what
This
it's
is
all
very
about,
true.
right? Mommies being able to run their businesses.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah, I know you want to get your face in there. Okay, here, we'll turn. We'll turn, okay? There. Yeah.
What a sweet girl.
Yes, who can open the door by herself?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah, because you're such a big girl. Oh, there you go. Daddy has a treat for you.
Daddy to the rescue.
Yes. Thank you, Daddy. Yogurt fixes everything at 3.5. Just
That's perfect.
everything. Yeah.
That ends after a certain age, just so you know.
I know. Then it'll be bigger things like, I don't know, chocolate or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Right now, I can survive on yogurt. So
That's perfect. That's perfect.
So apologies.
No,
that
that's
happens
fine.
a lot. Okay, so yes, what was I saying? Okay, so
the limiting beliefs, and that you don't really like that term because it can look different for everybody.
Yes. So what I challenge people to do is figure out what their story is. So if you're looking to grow your business, write down, like, just some people call it brain dumps or just free writing, journaling, whatever you want to call it. But write out what is holding you back, what you're afraid of, what, like, all of these things, all of these fears. And then I want you to look back at it and write down and comment on why it's crap, why it's not true, because so much of it is really absolutely not true, but it's what it's the story that you're telling yourself. And one funny example that I just want to mention that I was talking to my sister about was just to say, because we were talking about mindset and kind of like what the hell I'm doing as an entrepreneur. and I asked her, I'm like, well, do you believe you could be a millionaire? And she kind of looked at me and was like, no. Like, growing up, I mean, we grew up middle class, like, you know, we had everything we needed, but not rich by any extent. And so the thought of being a millionaire is completely foreign and complete, like, just not a realm that I could ever enter or that she could ever enter. And now that I'm in this whole entrepreneurial world, I see that it is possible because I'm surrounding myself with other success stories saying that they did it and it is possible. And if you really dig and look for the answers, you'll see that people who have made it, who are making millions, have come from situations and scenarios that are likely similar or even worse off than your own.
Yes,
and
definitely.
They had the drive and the ambition to go for it. And the only thing that is different from them and where you are today is action. And like all those big, huge, scary steps that they took to get them to where they are. So I'd say figure out what your story is. Figure out what you've been telling yourself, because whatever you're telling yourself will come true and it will be reality. And if that is a good thing, like telling yourself your business will succeed and I will, you know, leave my job, I will, whatever those things are for you, then you'll get there. You're believing in yourself, your abilities, and you're going to start to see the opportunities that are right in front of you. Whereas if you tell yourself, oh, I can't do this, I've got 5 kids, I don't have enough in savings, I don't have this or that, then you're just reconfirming to yourself that you can't do it, and you're not going to see those opportunities that may be right in front of you. So
yes. I
guess,
can't think who it was. Maybe you know, but there's the famous quote. I think it might have been Henry Ford, but it's the famous quote that says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're probably right.
Yeah, exactly. It was Henry Ford, yes.
Okay.
And I freaking love that quote. I think it's just so, it's so appropriate because there's so many people out there that are like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it's like, well, keep telling yourself that and it's going to be true. And then you're going to reconfirm what you're telling yourself. So I know it's really hard to kind of think, oh God, like how could I be a millionaire? How can I start my own business? But if you start submersing yourself in that realm, that world where other people have done it and other people have succeeded. Just imagine if you had 5 friends that were all millionaires that all had their own business. All of a sudden, it would not seem like a foreign concept to you that starting your own business is not normal. Like,
yes.
If you were in that world, then starting your own business would just be natural. And, why haven't you done it yet? So,
and don't you think the more you start to get involved in the entrepreneurial world and the more entrepreneurial friends that you make, whether they're in town or online, it changes the energy and it changes your thought pattern based on the people that you surround yourself with. And it doesn't mean you can't still connect with your other friends and have a good time. But there's something about being surrounded by like-minded people that really elevates you to the next level.
Oh, 100%. And there's another quote out there. I forget who said it. Maybe Ron, Bob. Anyways, the quote is, "You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
Yes. I love that.
Love that one because it's so true. If you're going to hang around with a bunch of people that, don't have the drive to get up off the couch and really take advantage of life and do what they love, then you're probably going to be sucked into that world as well, versus being surrounded by people that, have their own businesses or want to go off and travel or do all these fun things that you're interested in. Then those are the kind of people you want to surround yourself with.
Definitely. Narika said it's Jim Rohn. That's who it is.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Narika. And I love that you say to start with your story, because I think a lot of people don't think about bringing it all the way back to that. And I think you are spot on with, if you just say to somebody, what are your limiting beliefs? And they're like, well, I don't know, or I don't think I have any, or, it's not a limiting belief. This is just fact. It's the way that it is.
Exactly.
And I know back, I don't know, maybe a year ago, I had done an exercise, and I can't remember even where I heard about it, but you write down everything that you don't like about yourself. And it can be physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, like all of these different aspects of your personality, your life, who you are, and you write down everything that you don't like and all of what you think are your shortcomings. And you write those in pencil, and then next to it in pen, you change your story and you write down,
that's a good one.
So if it's like, let's say it's a financial thing and like, I'm terrible with money, you write that in pencil, and then in pen next to it, you say like, I know how to manage my money. Or if you really don't know how, then you write down, like, this is how I will learn to manage my money. And you choose a course you're going to take, or a coach you're going to work with, or, something, if it's something you actually do need to learn. But a lot of times they're just the lies that we're telling ourselves. And then when you rewrite your story in pen, then that's those become your positive affirmations that you read to yourself every day, or you memorize them. And I found that very eye-opening. And I think sometimes too, depending on the situation, sometimes we might, and I think women are probably do this more often than men, but I think if we hear certain negative messages about an aspect of our personality, whether maybe it's in the workplace, if it's a social circle we hang out with, the parents group, whatever it is, but when you hear other people's negative feedback about yourself, then you start to feel like that is a negative, when really, I heard in one job for years that I was too loud and too bubbly. Well, I started to feel really bad about those things for a really long time, until I finally realized I'm not too loud and I'm not too bubbly. That's just who I am. And maybe I'm just too much personality for them. I started to feel that those things were a negative, and really they're not. That's my personality, and that's who I am. And I've really come a long way of getting over that. But through that journaling and writing it out, I think it is very helpful to see what lies you're believing, and you can start to figure out what are lies and where you need more education on something, if it's, finances or something like that.
Very true. Very true.
So I love that. Great tip. What would you say, we'll wrap it up here shortly. It's already 10 after 6. What would you say is, hang on, Narika had a comment. This is one of the exercises I do in the live workshop I host, the BS bogus story. I love it.
Awesome.
So if you could sum it up Karina, is there, and I don't know if you can, if the answer is no, it didn't really work like that for me, that's fine. But would you say there was one largest limiting belief or one biggest thing that had been holding you back that you worked through? Or was it really a conglomeration or a process of like, once you worked through one thing, then you found another, you know, kind of like every time you got to a new level, was there something new? Or was there one big defining limiting belief that you had to work through that kind of changed your trajectory?
It's a good question. I think it kind of snowballs, right? Because like we don't just have one limiting belief that's going to hold us back. Like there's a lot of things that come up and that are still coming up for me that I need to get past, get over it. Except now that now that I'm looking for them, it's a lot easier to find and to recognize when I'm limiting myself. So as far as something like from the beginning, from the very start, I would probably just say my concept that I grew up with of, you know, the grown-up thing to do is go to school, get a job. That job to me is like, you know, your typical 9 to 5 job. That was what I was brought up as being the norm. And just getting past that, like that doesn't have to be my story, that I can make money and have my own business and it doesn't have to, you know, be in that box. So I think that was my biggest limiting belief, or not my biggest, my first. So getting over that kind of like started the ball rolling to recognize like what are the other things that are limiting me and holding me back. Because after that, it was kind of like one thing after another and going, okay, well, that's not true. And other people have done it. And just recognizing and then reaffirming to myself that I am not alone in this. Other people have succeeded. Other people have put their stories, put their messages out there. Other people are getting in clients. Other people are, you know, doing all of these things that I would have to accomplish to call myself an engineer. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. Yes. I took the same approach for labor and the whole pregnancy thing, going, okay, like we got this, because not to say it's easy, of course, any mothers out there know it is not easy, but I took the belief of millions of other women have done it, I can do it too, and I'll be fine. So I kind of took that with me and said, I don't care what happens, like I will be okay. And yeah, so that's just kind of the philosophy that I put on my business, on my life. Like that's that's how I choose to see the world. So yes. So that is what I help my clients to do too, and to help them shift their thinking to something a little bit more positive, a little bit more like in the direction that they want to take their life, even if they're not there yet. Like you can change your mind about things, and you can grow and learn and do all these amazing things. Yes. You just have to start off with that belief of, okay, I can change. Like I can do this.
Yes. So let's end with a little shameless plug for your business. I will include your social media links. I'll update the description of the live, and they were on the graphics and things like that. But why don't you just end by telling us a little bit about how your programs work, if you offer one-to-one coaching, if you're doing group coaching, and kind of what that process looks like if somebody is dealing with an issue or just feeling stuck or blocked or whatever it might be. What would that process look like if they're interested in working with you?
Okay, so I, at the moment, am offering one-on-one coaching. So I have a package that is an 8-week package where we get on the phone for an hour each week. And at the moment, I'm looking into doing group coaching, and as well, I'll be planning a retreat for next year, although I haven't decided on the details of that. Very excited.
Oh, awesome. Though. Awesome.
Yes. And as far as how to get in touch, I have a Facebook page, which I'm sure we can add the link after. It is Carina Groombridge Mindset and Success Coach. So anyone who's interested, go ahead, like the Facebook page. You can private message me if you'd like. And I absolutely love to work with women who want to be free of the 9 to 5 and who are ambitious and who don't want to settle and don't want to take no for an answer. And I love helping those people just grow and make that work-life balance that they really love and that they feel that they need in their life, and not settle for something, that cookie cutter job that many people have grown up thinking is the norm. So that's my, I guess, ideal clients. And I have a package that we go through to really address a lot of the limiting beliefs and the issues that would come up when you're in that world and that realm. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That is fantastic. Carina, thank you so, so much for joining me today. It has been absolutely fabulous to have you on here. Narika, you hung in the whole time, lady. I love it. Kim, you should start a podcast, lady. I have thought about a podcast, Narika. Oh, nice. Live episodes can be translated into podcast episodes. I might have to look into that. That is a great tip. Yes. I didn't know I could translate them into that. Awesome. Carina, thank you so much. And we will be in touch. Please, if anybody is having any issues that they're struggling with, whether you're starting your business, you're into your business, you're ready to scale and up level, think of Carina, connect with her online, and I will add her social media links to this post. Carina, thank you again. And don't forget to tell your husband I said thank you.
I will. Thank you so much, Kim. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.